What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to look back at The Last of Us's multiplayer. As we get closer to The Last of Us Part 2 releasing, now we know there's not going to be multiplayer, at least at launch, right? The factions mode, it's going to be pretty much its own complete game. I'm very, very excited for that possibility. We're going to be talking a lot about that in future videos, especially after The Last of Us Part 2 comes out. And once we get more information of it, especially when it's coming out, if it does come out for the PS5, all those kind of things. But, thinking about that got me thinking to The Last of Us, which, to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of multiplayer experiences out there. I am unsure. I'm unsure if I should tell you, or if I can tell you, in my own personal opinion, if it's like my favorite multiplayer experience of all time, but it's definitely up there. The Last of Us did something extremely unique, and it's made not only literally a game of the generation, a game of all time. Okay, Last of Us, in my opinion, now I know there's still some people out there that say, hey, it's overrated, it's generic. I mean, I guess I'm just not talking to those people, so I'm sorry if you think that. But for those of you that love The Last of Us like me, The Last of Us, well, we all know what it did, right? And we all kind of know that it was a very, very special game. It was a game that, again, defined the PS3, but also is one of the greatest video games I think ever created. And with that came its insanely good multiplayer that, when you look at Uncharted, I love the multiplayer, okay? I actually truly love the multiplayer of Uncharted. I think they're very, very fun. They're very fast-paced. Uncharted is what Uncharted is, and I think the game, the story itself of all four, and I guess Lost Legacy with 5, or even, if you count Golden Abyss, so 6 Uncharted games, I think the stories do a good job of showing you what Uncharted is, but like that fast-paced, frantic feel of jumping around and like rolling and ducking into cover, and especially Uncharted 4 with using the rope and swinging around, all that stuff. That's a different kind of experience that also, like, literally in your face and very fast paced in the moment is literally what Uncharted also is, but a little bit different. And the last, but however, people still kind of see Uncharted's multiplayer as a throw-in, right? You play it for the story. I don't know many people that got Uncharted 4 because of the multiplayer. I mean, I love the multiplayer. I played the multiplayer. I kind of have the urge to jump back in the multiplayer sometime, and it's a good thing to have, right? Because then when you're finished with the story, you play it a couple times or however many times you want to beat your stories. If you don't have multiplayer, then you're done with the game, right? Which is not a bad thing, a game like God of War, stuff like that. But my point is, it still is kind of seen as a throw in there, right? They're like, well, we're going to add it to it. And that's not the case with The Last of Us. I think because The Last of Us, the multiplayer jumped out at us, and we were like, oh my dear God, this is insane. Like, this is to The Last of Us what Uncharted's multiplayer is to Uncharted. This is a very different way of playing The Last of Us, but it's got all the core mechanics, which, by the way, the core mechanics, the core gameplay of The Last of Us is really rock solid, right? It's really good, and it's simple enough, right? Like, it's streamlined enough where it's not confusing. It all makes sense. It all really works together. And then you have the multiplayer where it's like you play with your friends, you communicate with your friends, and it's just such an amazing experience. As we get closer to The Last of Us Part 2 and even the factions mode, I would like to play more of The Last of Us's multiplayer, even maybe with you guys, as well as playing actually when the Last of Us Part 2 faction mode comes out. I'd love to play that with you guys as well. And The Last of Us just did something that's truly unbelievable because it had the groundbreaking story, it had a game of all time, and then also in the multiplayer, it was like, just wow, this game is, and I don't really have much more, like, I'm trying to come up with more words. I remember playing this game with Tyler, who's also on this channel, with my best friends Nick and Pat, and we would like just have so much fun. It was tense. It was scary, mainly because, because one bad move and you have to really coordinate as a team. It was just a different way, although it was a different way, but at the same time, pretty similar to how you play The Last of Us, right? Because you can't just go in guns blazing. Otherwise, you're going to end up dead. You have to go in smart. You have to coordinate with your team because they have a team too, and they may or may not be coordinating, but, and they, constant updates and maps and characters and all this stuff. It had like the cartoony thing where, obviously you do have the different skins, you do have the different characters, stuff like that. And maybe that is the one thing that I get it. I understand why it's in there. Same thing with like Uncharted. Like, I understand why like the big fat Nathan Drake is in there. Like, it's fun. It's different, right? It's there for a reason. it takes away, I guess, from like the realism of the game. But like, is there a realism? I guess you have to suspend your disbelief already for the game itself. So why not, take that extra step for the multiplayer? But I just had so many fond memories of playing that game. I thought, honestly, I don't know what videos you guys are watching. Don't judge me on these videos. But I think in my heyday, I was very good. I kind of assumed the role of like team leader of like the four of us. Now we would all kind of rotate in who would lead the group, and you two go here and we'll go here, or let's set up a flank and stuff like that. I think it was a rotating thing, but it was very, very good. Again, like I remember playing with a bunch of my friends, Nick, Pat, even Mike as well, Tyler, so many people, really my closest friends, and it's just a really pleasurable experience, one that I don't think about often, but when I do, like, I just have very happy memories of it, and I honestly pray that the second one can be just as good as the first. And honestly, considering it's getting its own like a GTA Online kind of treatment, I think it's going to be miles ahead of what the other one was, because I think it's going to be everything we wanted it to be, everything we want this new one to be. It's going to have all the best parts of the original, but because it's got, I assume, its own team working on it, it's got, that like this, we may have to buy it separately and maybe its own thing. That's unconfirmed. Nobody really knows. I think it is possible. It would be nice if it was just kind of patched in as like a free update. That would be nice of them, but I mean, I'll buy it. If I have to buy 20, 25, 30 bucks for it, I'll buy it. And because of that, I expect that it's going to be an amazing multiplayer experience, and I think it will be. I think launching it, especially at the PS5's launch, I think is a very, very smart move. But guys, let me know in the comments below, what are your memories with The Last of Us's multiplayer? We're approaching, like 7 years of The Last of Us right now, so it's been around a while, but people are still playing it, especially remastered. And again, I would love to play it as well, so let me know if that's something you guys would want to see from the channel. If you guys want to see like a Let's Play of the multiplayer. Again, I would like to live stream it. I would like to even play it with you guys at some point, but let me know in the comments below what you think about all of that, including The Last of Us Part 2 stuff in addition to that, okay? So let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell icon, and I hope to see you guys on the next video.